Hello and welcome to the Empowered Mom Conference, where we will be talking all about balance and productivity for working moms. I'm Tanya Lochner, your host and founder of the Empowered Mom Conference, and today I'm super excited to welcome to our event Valerie Friedlander. Hi Valerie, so glad you're here.
Thank you for inviting me.
So, ladies, I know that most of us finding balance, that elusive thing for a working mom, is a really hard thing. And so, firstly, I want to just commend you for showing up, for taking some time to invest in you, because I know that this is important to you. Your time is super valuable. And I promise you that you're going to get some really good tips and tools in this session, and we're going to keep it sweet and short and really impactful. But just once again, I want to commend you for taking this time out, that it's really important to you to find this balance. And it just shows to the type of woman that you are, your integrity and your character. So I'm going to jump in with Valerie because I can't wait to share this amazing lady with you guys. So Valerie, let's do a quick introduction. Just tell us who you are and how you came to do this amazing work that you do.
All right. Well, yes, I also want to say, thank you so much for inviting me. And I'm honored that these ladies are actually taking this space for themselves. That is the key. We have to do that to be able to create what we want to create. So I am Valerie Friedlander. I am a mom, a certified life coach, a wife, kind of a nerd, a creative spirit. I primarily work with entrepreneurial moms who are struggling with blocks and not moving forward as fast as they want to move, to help them unlock the mindset that allows their hustle to flow. So I got into this. I'll try and it's been a long journey. It's like a life journey. Like I didn't actually go out going, I'm going to be a life coach. But every piece of my journey has kind of led me into this space. The gifts that I have naturally and the training that I've received here, there, and everywhere, both through as a growing person and as a mom. So it's been a process of finding what I love. I'm a multi-passionate person, and that always was the thing that I kind of resisted of, well, what do I want to do? I don't want to waste my time and waste my money. I want to know what's the right thing, what's going to be the successful thing, what is the thing for me that I invest in, because we all know, time and money, yes, okay, there's an abundance mindset, but time and money are resources. So I didn't want to invest those resources in something that wasn't going to be the thing for me. And as someone I've made wedding dresses, I've made costumes, I've done acting. I've done like so many things. I majored in sociology. Did a lot of admin work, worked in law firms, was thinking possibly legal background, possibly professor. I love teaching, there's so much, helping, maybe a therapist. There were so many options. And so because I couldn't decide, I just went with what came in front of me, what fell in front of me, and was like, okay, that sounds good. Let's just do that. Oh, I'm successful here. I'll do that. So I spent almost 10 years as a credit and collections manager for a staffing agency.
Wow.
Which, and that's the thing. I fell into it. I'm a wonderful people person. I loved supporting my colleagues and building connections and developing relationships with clients and helping business work and bringing it all together. And so I was good at it. I was successful. I got the accolades. I felt, like I was making a contribution. So I just kind of climbed the ladder and got married, had the successful, lucrative career, bought a house in the suburbs. I made my life the way you're supposed to be happy. And the next thing was to have kids. And I had kids and thought, that's the piece of the puzzle. You put that piece in and everything, it's just, and then you're happy and like everything kind of flows and comes together. And yeah, of course there's always growing and moving, but it would flow at that point. And what happened was more like you put the piece of the puzzle in and everything else kind of popped out of place. All the things that I was managing and tolerating and not loving and just kind of like, well, it's good enough, became a lot harder to manage and tolerate and make not, just good enough because of the natural stress of being a mom. And I went, oh my God, what's wrong with me? Like I was supposed to be an amazing mom, and I felt like I was failing as a mom, as a wife, as a businesswoman, like all the places. And so that kind of set me off on this journey, first off, to try and figure out what was wrong with me. And then I started realizing, oh, maybe it's not actually me. Maybe it's the way I built my life was off of shoulds, was off of fear of going further, like these limits that I had defined for myself. And as I started taking those limits off, I ended up finding coaching in this roundabout way and enrolled thinking I was going to be a mentor and help, I love teaching, I love training. And it was so much more powerful than that. It was like somebody really listening to me and allowing me to find my solutions instead of staring at problems in this kind of like, okay, what's wrong? How do I fix it? I'm wrong. What do I need to fix me? Looking for all of these things, staring at problems. It started helping me actually go deeper and finding solutions for myself and taking those limits off, both off of my perception and off of my belief systems. And as I did that, that flow that I'd been looking for, that thinking that if I just, when this happens, then, that flow came into my life. And I was actually enjoying it more, even though so many pieces were still not exactly the way I would want them. There was more of a momentum that was in alignment with me. And I found that because my passion is helping other people shine and helping other moms share their gifts and get out of that space of constriction, I find that I love working with the women that I work with, because not only do they do this work for themselves and their family, but then they share it in powerful ways in the world. And I think that moms are that foundation, that bedrock for making change in the world, because not only are we so powerful in the now, but we're raising the next generation in a way to also learn how to live without those limits and without those restrictions, and to make choices consciously, lovingly, not based in fear, but with a confidence to be able to shine. And seeing so many patterns that I was experiencing that I had seen my parents go through, it's like, oh my gosh. And I didn't even realize it until I started doing the work, and then I could see it. And it's like, oh man. So that was, like I said, it was a little bit of a long story, but it was so powerful. And I think it ties really well into that idea of productivity, because it exponentially shifted my productivity when I got into alignment with myself without the spaces I was stopping myself.
And so I absolutely love that you shared this, and thank you that you shared this with us. For me, like what you said earlier, the biggest confidence killer is parenthood, is becoming a mom, because I also get from that background where I was a specialist in my corporate career, and I was like loving it. I was so good at everything I did. I always achieved my goals, and then comes parenthood, and suddenly I just felt so incapable, and like, what's going on? And your whole world gets turned upside down, and you sort of lose yourself. But then also it's like, it's the biggest like personal growth, personal development course that you can ever be on. And what emerges is, something so truly amazing through the tears and frustration and tantrums. And what I loved hearing you say at the end is just how it's come almost sort of full circle for you, where you really found, this whole new way of being and doing in just being a mom. While still, and this is the big thing for me, is we need to model to our children what we want them to learn. We cannot just give them theory. We cannot go and study, or, you get lots of like online parenting courses and do this, don't do that, like all wives' tales. but at the end of the day, it's really about what they see in you. And if you can model that, like what you're saying, that limitless life, really letting go of the societal limits, our own limits that we put into or up for ourselves. So I really love how you've how that journey has taken you and brought you to this amazing place. So I want to dive in a little bit deeper on how you stay super productive as a working mom. You're an entrepreneurial mom as well, which is a feat in its own, and also how you manage to find balance in all of this. So being really productive and having a bit of balance between work, life, home, kids, the whole shebang.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Well, and that's actually, you tapped into something that I often say is that you can't grow a business or a human being without growing yourself. Mm-hmm. So like all of these spaces that we occupy, we have to grow. It's like this push to be better and to expand. We're invited constantly to expand. And the more creatively we can think, and that's actually part of how I stay productive, is being able to think creatively. Because with motherhood, all right, so when you think about productivity and you think about like having a plan involves multiple parts. The one key part is a goal, having a goal. What do you want? What are you looking to achieve? And then you have the strategies to achieve that goal. And then you have your daily tactics, the things that you do regularly to create that. And the place that I find a lot of people get tripped up is that, like I said earlier, about when this happens, then, so we often create these goals for ourselves of like, I'm going to do this and I'll be happy when, or I'll be calm then, or I'll be peaceful then, or, whatever it is. Well, when you think about that goal, when you think about what do you want that goal for, what's the feeling that you'll have when you achieve that goal? Happy, calm, peaceful, present, whatever it is. When you reach that goal, that feeling, that's your actual goal. The feeling is what you actually want. And so when we think about, well, I'll have it then, and if the strategies that you're creating to get to that thing aren't in alignment with the feeling, that's when we lose our goals. We don't actually take action. We lose momentum. It's so much harder. And it's almost impossible to be balanced and productive when those strategies, those things that we're doing, like I want to be healthy. Healthy means feeling strong in my body, enjoying my body. Well, if going to the gym feels like I feel bad about myself every time I go, well, you're not going to keep going. You're just not. Like, who would do that? Like, that's not the goal. So what strategy would actually help you bring in that feeling confident and good? Maybe it's, affirmations in the mirror every morning, or stretching, or, like yoga. Maybe you were jogging and you actually love being around people. And so it needs to be like an aerobics class, like what will actually make it enjoyable, make it fun. Maybe that, when I have this, then I'll be able to have fun. So like bring that into the now, bring that into those strategies, because then it's much easier. We all have these habits, and those are our tactics, those daily things that we do. Taking a look at those, and what are those things that we do all the time that are reinforcing what we want to create in our life versus pulling us away from what we want to create. So if we have a habit of like hitting snooze every day, but setting our day up where we actually take a minute to check in with our body and go, okay, how am I feeling? Oh, I'm sore. I want to do some stretches, or, I'm anxious. I'm going to take 10 minutes to do some breathing and read a inspirational book or meditate, or, whatever thing speaks to you. So making those tactics that move you towards the ability to manifest the strategies and the goals, the actual goal that you have. So those are the ways that I bring in alignment. And when you think about like when you're doing those things, and sometimes it's hard because we'll put those things on the back burner. I had a client just recently. I asked her, what are the things that you're tolerating in your life? And she looked as she was going through, and she's like, this sounds silly, but it's uncomfortable sheets. Like, that's one of the things. She's like, that seems silly, but wait a second, why am I tolerating uncomfortable sheets? Like, so she just, as soon as she acknowledged that this was something she was tolerating, she's like, well, I'm tolerating it because I'm always putting myself on the back burner. I'm even if it's something silly like sheets that I can easily order, it's still one of those things that's for me. So I'm just not doing it. Mm. And so she went on and ordered the sheets. It was like, I'll just do this. And I've had other clients who, when we started working, they were super stressed, not sleeping. And as we get to some of the places that, I'm holding on to this decision and I don't know what to do. I'm afraid of making the wrong decision. Well, making a choice and then mitigating, like addressing those things that the fears are about to ease those up, freeing up the blocks that are creating the stress. She actually saw her kid relax more and seem happier and more giddy and more playful. And she's like, oh my gosh, I thought it was this huge thing of like, do I send him to this school or this school? And when she just decided and was like, okay, we're going to do the thing that's easier on our family, and I'm going to do actions to help make that more comfortable for him, being able to create play dates and create activities that enrich what he's getting at this other school, then everybody relaxed. She relaxed, her husband relaxed, her kids relaxed, and they were enjoying life more. So it's really being able to tap into those places of alignment. What do you really want? What are your values? Like, what's actually important to you? Is it creativity? Is it connecting with others? Is it accomplishment, getting things done, knowing what those values are and why they're important to you, and bringing them into your life now? When you start asking yourself the questions, what do I need? And I love what questions in particular, because they kind of put that curiosity mind on. The more curious we can get, the more creatively we can think, the more options are available to us, and the more we're living at choice, which naturally allows us to be more productive and take action instead of getting stuck in the swirling and the worrying and am I going to do it right? And what happens if I do it wrong? And then that creates inaction.
Yes. And so what I heard you say earlier, so it's all about connecting to the now, connecting to the moment. And one of my favorite tools there is really bringing in gratitude for where you are right now, because it is quite often easier to focus on the negative things. And the moment you bring in a little bit of gratitude for where you are now and what you have, it's easier to lift your energy to then be more positive about that goal and feel good about that goal, rather than feeling like, I'm not there yet. And the second thing I heard you say was that it's all about that awareness, really becoming aware of what do I want, where do I want to go, how do I get there, what is really important to me and what aligns to me to help me get there. So just let's talk a little bit about energy, because that is the key to really balance it all, right, is for us to keep our energy up. And as a working mom, let's face it, that's one of those scarce resources, because we've just got to give from morning to night. And so how do you do that? How do you keep your energy up to balance it all?
So the way I look at energy, I kind of take it might seem a little woo, but it's very scientific in terms of like the quantum physics. Like, we're all vibrating energy, like at a quantum level. And so energy, while it's a resource, it's also a mindset. So the way we think about things, so the way we perceive the world is based in everything that's happened to us, all of our experiences, and the way we, what's successful, what's failure, all of these things that we believe. And they create that filter that we look through. And I loved what you said earlier about like, it's overwhelming becoming a mom because we're not trained in that. Like, there's no class for it. There's no, you have birthing classes and you have helping your child sleep and stuff like that. But like actually being a mom and finding the things that work for you as a mom, it's very personal. And it's based on that relationship between you and your kids. And it's a constant experiment. It's a constant process of exploring what works, what doesn't, what do I want to try now, what feels loving for me. Because when we're constantly in that space, that mindset of thinking, you know, I have to give and give and give, and our giving starts becoming attached to an outcome. And this was a huge thing for me. Giving with an attachment to an outcome, when that outcome doesn't actually happen the way we think it should, and again, this is a should, then we feel like a victim of life. We feel at the mercy of things. We feel powerless. We feel let down, and all of those things. That's a perception. And you'll notice that this happens. Like some days you're like, okay, you know, we can make this work. It'll be fine. You know, oh, hey, actually there's an opportunity here. And I didn't even know it was there. But like now that this happened, we can go to this park instead of do that other thing that we were going to do. Or, I can contact this friend. So it feels like an opportunity some days. And then there are other days where it's like, why does this always happen to me? I'm just going to go home and I just want to go to bed. And like, this stinks, you know? And so, but it depends on the day. It depends on what's going on, which means that it's about the lenses that you're looking through. It's about the filter that you have happening right then. So whether something feels energizing or depleting completely depends on the way you're looking at it. Mm-hmm. And I think it's really important not to beat ourselves up over having those days where it's like, oh, really? They did that again? Like, why can't they just listen? You know, that's totally normal. But being able to notice, okay, I'm in this space. What do I need to do to be okay? What do I need to do to feel better? And maybe it's calling a friend and venting. Maybe it's asking your significant other to jump in. Maybe it's scheduling a nap, you know, like hiring a babysitter and scheduling a nap, or whatever, you know, like anything. Noticing that you're in that space of constriction, of pulling in, of feeling overwhelmed and depleted, that's a sign, not that something's wrong with you or you're doing something wrong, but that you need to nurture yourself. Because, you know, that there's that classic saying, you can't pour from an empty cup. Mm-hmm. Being able to, one, acknowledge when you're in a space and look at what do I need to do to be okay? Not instead of beating yourself up over it. And then also being more conscious of when you're looking at a situation, what are some other ways I could look at this situation? Like, I'm feeling overwhelmed by it, but how, like, that's based on your interpretation of the situation. And when you know that, oh, you know, I could look at this differently, even calling a friend and be like, okay, how would you look at this? Instead of just going in and telling them how you feel about it, what's a way I could look at it? You know, like if you just can't go there yourself, which is okay. It happens sometimes. So those are some of the things that I do to keep my energy up is, one, doing my best to detach from an outcome and making choices, again, bringing it into the now. Am I doing this because it feels good, or am I doing this because I feel like I should do it? Because when I feel like I should do it, I don't feel like I have a choice. And if I don't feel like I have a choice, I have less energy. Whereas if I feel like this is a choice and then I get to make the next choice, then I feel like I have more power. It was funny. I was actually reading Calvin and Hobbes to my kids last night. And there was a whole comic about, like, isn't it funny how, like, choices open up depending on what path you take. And if we take this path, then we get these choices. And then we get new choices. I'm like, oh my gosh, I didn't realize as a kid, Calvin and Hobbes was so deep. So there are lots of opportunities to, like, oh, hey, look, I get to learn something reading to my kids.
So, I love what you're saying there. And again, it's coming up that, it's all about self-awareness. It's being in tune with where you are and then making those conscious decisions about how you're going to react to that situation rather than feel like the victim of the situation, like you don't have a choice, which really starts with being in the right energy and allowing yourself to actually not have energy in certain days, and then just really looking after yourself and nurturing yourself a little bit differently. And so I think an important part is becoming aware of, and I love how we go through energy cycles during the day and during the month, and not just, when it's that time of the month, but also just like in terms of when we can handle more things and when we can't. So you'll get times of the month where you are super creative, the energy is high, you can just sort of like fly off the roof. And then you get times of the month where you just feel like, I need to take it slow. It's a little bit more self-care. And so it really just starts with becoming aware of that. Where am I in the spectrum? And then you can start being a little bit more proactive by actually saying, okay, what is a choice I'm going to make in the situation before I let it sort of run away with me and I become overwhelmed and completely drained. So, what are some of the, like, if we can sort of sum it up, what are some of the core practices that you incorporate into your life as a working mom to really make sure that you keep your energy up, that you balance it all, and that you stay in that high sort of vibe place so that you can manage yourself proactively?
Absolutely. All right. So a few of the things that I like to do is, one, for me, knowing what helps me kick off my morning well. Everybody's a little bit different of what helps them. For me, it's getting in my body and moving my body. When I can get my blood flowing, then that helps me. Also, I do a check-in with a colleague of mine to just, all right, this is what I want to get done today. This is what might stop me. Or actually, we start off with like, what was successful about the day before? So being able to go, okay, because I find that focusing on what I want. So often, I can't tell you, like almost every time I talk with somebody, when I first ask them, what do you want? They tell me what they don't want. I want less stress. I want to not feel like there's always a less or a not or a, avoid or whatever. And it's like, okay, that's great. That's really important to know the things you don't want. What do you want though? And then, because there's that saying of where attention goes, energy flows. And so what you're focused on is what you're expanding. And if it's just like with kids, when you say like, don't push that button, they hear push that button. And what do? They push the button. You're like, well, I just told you not to do that. Well, they just didn't hear the not. They didn't hear the don't. And our brains work the same way. It's like, focus on the button. That's the whole reason why there's so much emphasis around redirecting the kids. Redirect your brain. Redirect it towards what you want. I want to feel more calm. What would help me feel more calm? Again, it's that focusing on the solution rather than the problem. So we go in and we look at what are the wins. Because also we have, huge lists of to-dos. And it's really easy to go, oh, I didn't get all those things done. I only got this done. And you kind of like poo-poo the stuff that you did. Look, I got my kids out of the house. I fed them and they're wearing clothes. Yes. I didn't get anything else done today, but I did that. And that is good enough for today. Now, what do I want to do with the next day? So starting the day off, looking at what are the wins? What did I accomplish yesterday? Now, knowing that, go me, what do I want to do today? What's going to get in my way? So that I can then go, okay, these are the things that are going to get in my way. What do I want to do about those things? So I'm starting my day off with an intention of action as well as of mindset. So like, not just what do I want to do, but how do I want to do it? The way do I want to show up to it? I want to show up with fun. Today I want fun. Okay, so I have laundry to do. I have several calls to make. I have, a project to work on. All right, what do I need to do to make those fun? And sometimes it's like, oh, I don't know. But just that searching process can start opening up creativity and expanding possibilities. Just like you said about gratitude. I love gratitude because even if you don't have to feel grateful to tap into gratitude. I did this with an argument with my husband. I'm just going to throw this in here because like we were in an argument and I just read an article about gratitude and how gratitude can actually, like, even if you don't feel it, just starting to look for it activates parts of your brain that allow you to think more expansively. And so we were having one of those like kind of silences where we're just sitting there being mad at each other. And I was like, okay, I'm going to list out all the things I'm grateful for right now about you in this situation. And either it's going to help or it's going to annoy you. And either way, I win. So I started listing out stuff. And then I was like, okay, your turn. And bless him, he was game and he jumped in. And as soon as we did that, we both felt better. And we came up with a solution. I was just like, that's amazing. Because we focused on what we like and what we wanted to create more of instead of focusing on the problem. Even though I didn't feel gratitude, just that process opened things up. So I like to start my day off like that. And I like to end my day with just a check-in of like basically tapping into gratitude. What am I grateful for today? Even if it didn't go the way I planned it. What can I find to be grateful for in that? And that also helps with a more expansive experience of life.
So I just want to add on to that, the brain is a goal-seeking device. And so what you were saying about just put it out there, put that question out there, it will start processing and start looking for it. How can I make this more fun? How can I do this? How can I tackle this? And sort of then leaving it and distracting yourself, thinking about something else, because your brain will go and search for that answer. So I loved what you said there. So Valerie, you have shared some incredible nuggets of gold with us. Thank you so much. I know this will be super helpful for a lot of our viewers. I do believe that you've also got a free gift for us. Would you mind sharing a little bit more about what that is?
Yeah, absolutely. So I call it my pocket pacifier, like with kids, with babies, when they're stressed out, that sucking action helps them relax. Well, we need different tools as adults. That using an actual pacifier is probably not going to go over very well. So it's a pocket pacifier, and basically it's 5 simple steps to help you deactivate a pushed button. So, those places where you stop, those places where that interpretation that I mentioned before gets you caught up and you're thinking, like, I'm so frustrated. Like, that person cut me off and he, like, how dare he? And you start taking it personally and it starts weighing you down and draining your energy. This helps you deactivate that. This helps you shift from that space where instead you're feeling more energized. And it's useful in the moment, but it's especially useful after the fact. So, because the thing is that we encounter similar situations in our life. Like, your kid does something, they're going to do it again. Like, you're making dinner and they want your attention at the same time and they start doing all the things to get your attention. Like, it's not going to be like a one-off thing. They're going to keep doing it. Your husband put the cup next to the dishwasher instead of actually in the dishwasher. I mean, they're just things that people do. And so this process allows you to, 1, deactivate that button in the moment, but also come up with a plan to start shifting that habit of thought and being so that you are retaining your energy more and able to develop the relationships with the people in your life or, traffic in a way that works better for you so that you can be more productive and effective and not get derailed. So it's called a pocket pacifier, and it's a little pocket printable as well as an audio, like a short audio file to walk you through the steps.
That sounds amazing. Thank you so much for sharing that gift with our audience, Valerie. So ladies, I really want to encourage you. The link is right below this video. Go and click it and get your pocket pacifier right away. It sounds like a really awesome tool. I'm definitely going to check it out. So thank you again, Valerie. It's been amazing chatting to you. It sounds like you are doing some incredible work, and thank you for the power of that you bring into this world and helping moms to really just step into their own power and alignment so that they can raise these incredible children who also reach their full potential and live these limitless lives. It's been an absolute honor. Thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you. And thank you for this work that you're doing. I mean, it's so empowering for all of us to do this. So thank you.
Absolutely. And to our audience, thank you so much for joining us. I'm sure I hope you made notes because there were so many points, and go and re-listen to this interview as many times as you can before this event is over, and click the link below for your free gift. I look forward to chatting to you again. Thank you for joining me, and see you all again soon. Bye for now.